He comes every since he's retired.
Jay.
Okay. Hey,
Steve.
put up.
I had a pretty good time with him. This group is growing. This group is growing.
We ready? Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Rankin County Board of Supervisors meeting this January 6, 2020. I want to call the meeting to order. Craig, would you say a prayer for us?
I'll be glad to. Join me as we pray. Lord, I thank you for new beginnings. Thank you, Lord, for this new board term. Father, thank you for these gentlemen who have once again committed themselves to serving our community. Father, for their families that are sacrificing so that they might be able to do this work. Father, thank you that it's a stewardship responsibility and that you've enabled and you've equipped these men to do the work that you've called them to do. I pray, Father, that we as a community will pray for them, and Father, that they will feel very much the support of our community as they labor to do the right thing for each and every citizen of our community. Father, for the first responders who protect us each and every day, what an incredible gift it is to have these men and women who are willing to do what they do every day. Father, I pray for their protection. I pray that you'll bring them home safe to their families. Amen.
Amen. All right, we'll go to our public comments, and let me ask each person, which we don't have a lot of public comments, but we do have a good bit on our agenda. So whenever we speak, let's be brief and to the point, and so that others don't have to wait 3 or 4 hours before they can have their day. Carl Franco, you're first up, buddy, right out of the chute.
You want me to be brief?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Carl, be thankful. You're the first up. You usually have to follow something pretty tough.
You're right. You're right. I am extremely thankful. Let me,
Feel sorry for who has to follow you, though.
well, let me distribute these things here. Just give y'all an update.
What'd you lose? My glass cleaner.
I hope y'all all have a blessed Christmas and a happy New Year. We intend to get the project completed this year.
This year?
Oh, is that? Yes. So I just want to bring y'all update on where we're at on things. The two handouts you're getting, the first one is kind of a summary of the projects, and then the second one.
We'll share that.
We'll share it. We'll share it.
We got it.
Of,
We're good.
let's see. I do not.
You got it.
I'll give them this one when I get through. Just to kind of tell you where we're at on projects, if you go to that first page, it's not the spreadsheet. We're talking about different projects. Where we're at on the courthouse is including the furniture and everything. We're at $20,529,198.45. I'll talk about the schedule in a second. The misdemeanor is completed. Actually, it's $4,202,072.59 was the final pay application. So you can see the total cost of those two projects is $24,703,271.04, which is $296,000 under the bond balance where we're at right now. The misdemeanor was completed technically on August 29th. They finished up doing some things a little bit later. We will be involved for the next year on that, just on warranty items if something comes up. Everything's under a minimum 1-year warranty, but there's some other items like roofing, HVAC that's longer warranty items, but we're involved for at least a year. If something needs to be replaced, for instance, if a problem with air conditioning unit goes out, we need to contact the contractor to get that involved. And then at the end of the year, next August, we'll come back and do a 1-year inspection just to make sure at that time that everything is still working. But the misdemeanor, other than that, is complete. And we have not been contacted with anything not working. So as far as I know, everything's still working good. Courthouse, they've been working around the clock. They're right now, the schedule that they've given us for completion is February 20th. I'm not sure that's going to happen, to be honest, but they're doing everything they can. I know they want to
I'm
get
thinking March. We were originally scheduled to have a opening in March.
Yeah.
We just didn't say what year. You know.
You feel good about saying 2020? You know?
Well, like last week we had 3-4 inches of rain, and it just they're trying to get the outside, at least the
Yeah.
base court down. So they're working. But that's where we're at right now.
Saying, going back to that, why are they not paved it yet?
It just they rain, and well, to be honest, the asphalt companies close down last 2 weeks of the year every year to do maintenance, and because usually they anticipate cold weather, which we didn't really have a whole lot of this year. But they want to start getting paving, but it's got to dry out, and we've got that sandy soil there, which helps to dry out some, but it just all runs downhill. So they really want to get it paved because it would help them on their schedule tremendously to get a base course down, not the finished course, but just the base,
Yeah.
the base course. Just to kind of go through things, we have on the courthouse, we have $85,800 remaining in the contingency. We don't anticipate using all that. We may use a few thousand, things come up. We think we're going to get a credit of some $50,000 additional from change orders approved by the board for dirt work, bad dirt, that it's not going to be used. At least that was our last conversation with the contractor, somewhere in that range. There's still a $30,000 wall graphic allowance, which hasn't, we've kind of been waiting to see where that's going or if that needs something to be done after the contractor's finished. And of course, we're still anticipating furniture installation in February. That may get moved back some, but we're working with the contractor to try and make some spaces available for certain things such as the high density shelving that needs to really get in there. So in the courthouse, I can't tell you they're going to be through at the end of February. If not March, I feel pretty comfortable about March. But to be honest, I can't. I'm just going on with the contract and what we're seeing there. Re-roofing projects, the DHS is complete. On the EOC, we're about 75% complete, and they're moving forward. On the other project, the CMRLS, we've been out there and started design on it. It's kind of an interesting building. They've got some problems with it holding water. And so what we're thinking about is using taper insulation, taking the water to the outside, sloping it with gutters and downspouts. Because right now they have a sump pump that they have installed, which is not a good thing to have on a roof, which means that at some point they realized they were holding water on the roof, so they're using a sump pump to get it off. And I don't know when that happened. I don't think that was the original design of that project. I wouldn't have thought.
I would never think that.
I wouldn't either, but there's a sump pump right now because mainly the water can't get to, they only have 3 roof drains. And so my understanding is, and when we were out there, it was holding 2-3 inches of water, that they have to go out there periodically and sweep the water off the roof.
Wow.
So what we think we can do, or we think the best solution would be to use some tapered insulation, take the water to the exterior and use gutters and downspouts. But there's the way the building's designed, there's a couple of things we've got to investigate that may not allow us to do that completely.
Hey, Carl, will you refresh my memory? Where are you talking about?
This is on Timberline. It was what was it, the old library? I'm not sure. Okay. Oh, health department now, it's a library.
What are we doing for them?
Yeah, the roof is holding water. It's leaking bad. It's got skylights.
I guess.
It's got a pump on the roof to keep the water off.
Yeah.
That sounds like, well, is it structurally something inside making it sag?
We hadn't seen that, but it's a wood structure, so it could
That's what it
get enough
sounds to me
water
like.
on it. It's got low spots, and it looks like the existing roof on there is fairly new. It's a single membrane PVC roof, it looks like, on there. But it's a,
Talking about the building right up here.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. When we did we do anything to the roof when we renovated it? I don't know, what,
No.
6 years ago when they moved in? Wasn't it about 6 years? 8?
Probably around that time frame.
Yeah. Huh, but you think the roof looks relatively new? So,
It looks new. It doesn't
must
look- I
not
mean,
be
but it's
as
just
new
got-
as it looks then.
it's not draining at all. It's got a lot of low spots, and mainly because it didn't have enough drains to begin with. And I don't know when they installed the sump pump, but I assume that it's up there to drain, to get the
Yeah,
water
you
off
would
the roof.
think.
Well,
And that's
sure
not a
would.
good solution, typically, to have a sump pump on the roof to get the
No,
water
I've
off.
never heard of that.
Be honest with you, that's the first time I've experienced too. But I'm not our roofing man. We got our roofing guys in the office. They may have seen that.
I don't think that's the
It's
standard.
not a good solution though. So we're doing that. The only other project that we're working on right now is the Chancery renovation. That's been on hold. We cranked that back up because, well, we gotta wait till the courthouse gets through before we really can start doing that. But we've done a good part of the design work. We would anticipate bidding that in March if the courthouse is finished. And that taking 4 or 5 months. Of course, once the courthouse gets finished, you've got to move. So we really can't do anything until the movement occurs. That's kind of a summary of where we're at. I gave you a spreadsheet, or you should have a spreadsheet of the cost. That goes through all the initial costs, the change orders. As I said, in summary, we're actually over budget somewhat on the courthouse and under budget on the misdemeanor. We were $800,000 under on the misdemeanor and $300,000 something over on the courthouse. We do anticipate there's going to be some credits coming back on the courthouse. We have not used, there's a utility allowance in there that we have not used, that has not been used yet of $25,000. However, we think that some of that will be used by Energy to relocate a pole, a utility pole. That just hadn't been finalized. In working with Energy, they won't, until they actually are ready to do the work, you never know how much it's going to cost. So that's why our engineers always put an electrical allowance in there for that. But as I said earlier, we're actually $276,000 under the $25 million, and we do anticipate being a little bit more money coming back. Well, I mean, I'm not going to say there won't be some minor things. There's been a couple of things creep up, but we're talking about a few $1,000s, not talking about major items at this point that I'm aware of. I'll be glad to talk about anything, or if you want to talk about the schedule on the courthouse or rain days or any of that, or if you have any other questions. That's where we're at.
Are we really considering some rain days for this past week or two? Because they weren't working inside. I mean,
Yeah.
construction people.
No,
normally
the
take
rain
off.
days right now, Steve, and I just did this summary, since the project started on May 1st, 2017, through November of 19, not even considering December, there's been, according to the National Weather Service, 337 days of rain over 1/10 of an inch.
It's almost a year.
So I'm not here to make excuses for the contractor.
Hey,
But,
think of the wording of that. A year
Out of 2 years,
of rain
every
delays.
other day.
And,
That's a great
the
rain
reality
delays.
of it,
We're not giving up.
That's pretty favorable.
no, what's been approved by the board is 92 days.
Yeah.
Because in the contract, there's already built in some rain days that they have to bid. So that's why there's such a big difference there. But they're behind by a month or two of what's been approved. Probably closer to 2 months, I'm thinking right now. We're in conversations with them, weekly with them, and they're trying to get it done, and they've done a good job.
Hey, Carl, just from my own mindset, when does the penalty phase start? Is there a penalty phase?
There you do have in the contract liquidated damages. I wouldn't call them penalties because that's a whole different legal technical, but yes, sir, liquidated damages.
When does that start? You roughly know?
December 11th
Of
last year.
year? So we're into the, I don't want to say penalty phase, but the financial
That's what's been
encouragement
approved.
phase.
Yeah, that's what's been approved by the board. Of course, the board has not approved any additional days for a few months.
As of December 11th of last year,
Yeah, that's the calculation right now.
mathematically, they're going to be a 3-month, I don't want to say penalty, but a
Could.
3-month financial hardship on their part.
Could be. That's purely the board's decision. And we would get
Well, you would
county
think
attorney
the
involved in
longer
that.
he's dragging this out, you know, the more it's costing him too.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah, I will emphasize that. They are,
5 days from a year.
As long as he's got a full crew here, you know, and not just giving us half work.
Jay, every time we've been out there, they've got it covered up. Now, of course, at the last 2 weeks of this year, people are not, subcontractors, half their people out in deer stands and things of that nature. But it behooves them. You're right. It's costing them time. Even
They're losing money every day we go.
overhead. They're having to pay. Well, they're a year behind on paying their superintendents and project managers. That's a year's worth of money to them. So.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Carl.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, next on our public comment is Karen Simmons.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Karen Simmons, and I'm with Business Interiors. We have been doing business with Rankin County for over 20 years now, and we thank you for your business. But I'm here today because we are fortunate enough to be one of the large vendors on the project that Carl was just talking about. As you know, the construction has been delayed, and therefore delayed the furniture installation. Fortunately, when we were told about month to month about the delays, we were able to bump the furniture delivery for the first 6 months. But due to some issues at the factories, we have had to receive the product late October. And right now we're storing the furniture and absorbing the storage fees. Not only that, we have now paid for the product, which is hundreds of thousands of dollars. We are not asking for reimbursement of the storage fees, but because we're a very small company, it's really very difficult and become very difficult for us to absorb these hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of invoices that we now can't get paid for until we install. And again, we're not asking for the any additional charges for the reimbursement of the storage fees. We were just seeing if there's any way that the board can approve our 80% invoices that we've now paid our suppliers.
Can we do that?
If I may, Mr. President, I'd like to address the board quickly about how we got where we are. So obviously, it's a difficult situation. We recognize that we've got this vendor that has been a really good vendor for Rankin County for many, many years, and we don't really want to leave them in this position. So the question is there anything that we can do legally that would allow us to clear this hurdle, to get the vendor some form of payment that gets them out of the box as it relates to the amount of money that they've already sunk in the cost of the furniture itself, while we all recognize that the folks that are standing here talking to you, Business Interiors, me as your legal counsel, you guys sitting there, nobody that's involved in this conversation is responsible for the delay. It's not our issue. We didn't create this. It's a byproduct of the difficulties with the site. It's a byproduct of the rain delays that we've been discussing. It's a byproduct of challenges with this particular construction that were not anticipatable, if that's a word, ahead of time. And so Business Interiors did what they needed to do, and that is to have the furniture ready to go and ready to go in the building at an appropriate time relative to when we felt like the completion of the building would occur. So everything has changed. All the dynamics have changed, and now they're in a box, and we're in a box in that we need to know, is there a legal ability, which is Jay's question, can we do it? So finally, I'm getting around to answering Jay's question, but that's the background. Nobody here talking about this is responsible for this, okay? So obviously, if we can legally do it, then there is at least an open door of opportunity for this board to consider doing it, right? Honoring their request. So I opened up a channel of communication. I've done the research, and here's the down and dirty on the research. We issued a PO. We did not include in the purchase order because it wouldn't have been standard operating procedure for us to have done it. We didn't include any accommodation for storage costs in the event of a delay. We also did not accommodate any sort of prepayment or payment before receipt of goods. We didn't do that. The normal course of how we do business is we issue a purchase order, and then upon receipt of the goods and an invoice, and assuming that there is agreement that what we received is what we ordered, then we issue payment. And that order stays consistent throughout all of our purchase orders. There's not an accommodation that we can find available to us that says if a purchase order has been issued, the goods have not yet been received, but there is some delay that is outside the normal course of operations, not the responsibility of either the county or the vendor, that the county can then go ahead and issue some sort of partial payment. It's not done. And so I opened up a channel of communication with our circuit judge. I've asked for assistance there. And what I would suggest to you guys is allow me as board lawyer to go and sit down with our judge and determine whether or not there is a legal process that we can follow here that, number one, protects the Board of Supervisors in the event we decide it's appropriate to go ahead and issue some sort of partial payment. There are legal questions that need to be addressed, notwithstanding the reality that we've got a general contractor that is now in the liquidated damages phase of this contract, and we don't want to do anything that could potentially jeopardize in some manner the county's potential claim against the general under the liquidated damages section, okay? So there's some stuff that doesn't have anything to do with the vendor or the county, but that could be impacted by how the actual contract is interpreted. So I would like to have an opportunity to sit down with Judge McDaniel and go through all of these issues and determine whether or not there is, in fact, an avenue for us. Okay?
Okay.
Would that work?
Yep.
So we're not telling
Sounds
Ms.
like we'll have
Simmons
to.
no. We're telling Ms. Simmons we would like to see if we can work this out. Find a legal way that protects the board. Okay?
Hey,
We'll try to move as quickly as
yeah, I was
possible.
gonna say, do you mind giving her some kind of time frame
Yep.
on how long this takes, or?
Yeah, my intention would be that we have this conversation with Judge McDaniels the 6th today. The next time we're in front of you guys is the 15th. And so I would like to have an answer and a proposal to move forward not later than the 15th.
Does that help?
That's the best we can do under what you just said.
Anything you can do.
We're gonna do our best on that.
Absolutely.
So-
I tried to stress to Ms. Simmons when we were communicating about this, I tried to stress that this board's position is going to always be, if there's any way we can work it out and maintain a good
Right.
relationship that we've worked hard to establish and maintain through the years, we're going to do it. If there's any legal way that we can do it. All right?
Thank
Thank
you.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we'll move to election of officers. That would be electing a president and a vice president to serve for the next several months.
I'll make a
So-
motion.
Okay, I was fixing to ask, so do we
I'll
have
make
a
a
motion?
motion.
I'll do it. We'll
Do
put you-
Okay.
I'll make a motion to nominate Mr. Bishop as president and Mr. Morrison as vice president of the Board of Supervisors for that same time frame we utilized during the last.
8 or 9 months, I don't know which.
Or we can go permanent with Bishop as president. I'm good with either one of those.
All
I
right.
started out.
But you gotta wear a tie every day.
Schedule.
Huh, as long as you do.
Ah.
All right, we have a
So that's my
motion
motion.
by Daniel for Jay to serve as president and Jared to serve as vice president for this next portion of our term. Do I have a second?
Second.
Brad Calhoun seconds that motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. It's been fun. It's been fun.
There you go.
Turn that thing off.
I would like to give you a plaque, but you've done a great job as president.
Just give him a nameplate.
And I would like to welcome Mr. Calhoun on board with us. Congratulations. Hope this next 4 years are great for everybody. At this time, we need to appoint a few folks. But I think we need to have a motion discussing need to go into executive session.
So move.
Motion.
Oh, I'll fix to jump in there.
Motion by Daniel, second by myself. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I make a motion to go into executive session for personnel.
Second.
Motion by myself, second by Daniel. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, rather than all y'all leaving, I think we can just step outside.
Yeah, we can do that.